Oh. That's fun. Hi, guys. Hi. I'm gonna make sure is muted. It's not. There. There's the Kate. Oh. Hi.
Wait, no.
What? You can still change it. How do I do the green screen with this one? I swear, every single time we go on, it's like we've never done it before. It doesn't say anything.
Wee.
I don't think Ben's old phone is updated enough to do the, whatchamacallit, the green screen. I'm just going to get rid of it. Hi.
Hi. Look, there's words now. I don't know if you saw.
Join us.
Heal your ish.
Hi, guys. What's up? Look, I figured out how to do a little sticker.
Oh! That's cute as fuck. Can I do that? Enhance. Don't worry, cat. It made my eyes so big. Hey, guys. It's for me to see you with. Okay.
It's just a picture of your profile picture. So.
Just kidding.
Yancy, you probably thought it was a weirdly placed poster because you're high. Oh, sorry. Dead bitch, if you just got done lucid dreaming and now you feel wonky, say, Spirit, if it's in my highest good, please apply the closing statements to me as needed. There you go.
How do you want to do this?
Well, I was thinking of like, I don't know. I was thinking tonight, and I talked it over with Kate. Why is it making me want to cough? Of a little get to know you kind of thing. And there's a lot of stuff that I know about Kate and like her background and where she came from and how she stepped into her, like, I guess what most people call spiritual practice, but it's really not, because what we do doesn't really fit into all of that. Like, I guess the multidimensional stuff. And then, like, you and I have had a journey together.
Yes.
And we've learned a lot of stuff together.
Yancy said they know it's not Alabama. Yes, that's right, Yancy. It was not Alabama. I had never been to Alabama. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so explain that. So they want to know, like, for the people that just didn't get that that you actually didn't want to be that it was just a whatever. What did that post mean?
Oh, okay. So for reference, I made a post that it was supposed to be what you wanted to be when you grew up versus what you are now. So what I wanted to be when I grew up, and this is, I think I started this when I was 2, from like 2 to whenever. because right after that was like aircraft stuff. And then I was like, oh my God, doctor, I'll do that instead, not aircraft for some reason. So I just knew that I wanted to be a preacher in a church in Alabama. I had never been to Alabama before. Uh, Never ever.
And never.
Also, I didn't have any religious anything. I did not understand the concept of religion. We did go to church, but I didn't think they were talking to me. I thought they were. I was very cheeseburgers, still very cheeseburgers. Didn't think they were talking to me. Thought that we were just talking, just talking. People just talk.
Hanging out in fancy clothes in a big old building.
This is what people do. I'm peopling right now. Wow, look at these people. Didn't know they were
Do you
talking.
think you do you think you saw a documentary, or was it like a bleed over? Did you read a book? Like, what happened? Because that's such a like an obscure thought. Can you channel what happened? You're smirking.
Because it would be a bleed over. Whenever I was that age, all I did was watch animal documentaries and read books about cats and tigers and the wildlife and the jungles. I don't
That's
think
still
Alabama
you.
has jungles. So if you go to
Kate,
this
do you
church in Alabama,
Kate, do you want to watch a movie? It's a documentary. Then I'm not interested.
they would hate it at daycare. They'd be like, all right, what's everyone's favorite movie? I'd be like, The Vanishing Prairie. And they would just be like, and they would hate it. They would hate it. They'd hate watching it with
Oh.
me because it was a documentary.
Yancey said the devil went down to Georgia, but a preacher went up to Alabama.
That's right.
Yes,
That's
yes.
right. It was a good time. And yeah, and guess what? I still saved that VHS. I have it. I still have it. Because why did I like it? I don't know. It's just there, just in case I ever.
Do you still have a VCR?
Not anymore.
We need to figure, like, we need to get one and watch it. Because
Oh my God.
I want to see what it was that had a grip on you. Like, I want to see. I
It
could
was.
probably find it on YouTube, right?
I don't know. This was such an obscure document. It was like the only documentary in my house. And
How
why
did you
they got
find
it,
it?
I
Why
don't
did you?
know. My grandmother is what I got. It would have had to have been my grandmother.
I mean, my dad had a collection of National Geographics. I had a basement, which was very rare to have in Florida, and he would do pottery on a pottery wheel down there. And he had a whole shelf full of National Geographics. And I remember I was like, it wasn't so much that there was nudity in there. I was more enamored by the jewelry on the neck, that would stretch out the necks, and then the discs that they would put in their ears and their lips. I was always like, huh. Wow, that seems like really uncomfortable. And I understood. I couldn't, like, I wasn't reading the stuff. I was just looking at the pictures. And I
Yeah.
understood the significance and I understood the culture of it. But, like, it was just so odd that there were people in the world living different lives.
And that's what enamored you was. Okay. Was that? Well, it was everything about it. I just remember everything. I was like, I knew exactly how the beginning went. It was a paintbrush and it painted paint stuff, but paint of water, watery paint. And it would paint pictures of birds and cats and paw prints. And that was the
And you were
beginning
like,
of it.
oh my God, this is the
Yes.
best.
Yes. I was like, I know this is going to be so good. It's going to be so good, guys. Look at this paint. And then everybody was just like,
Uh, you like brought it in? You brought it into
oh yes,
daycare?
of course I did. They wanted everybody,
Ah!
like always. I always brought it in. Nobody wanted to watch it. They would rather VeggieTales because it was a church daycare.
Right, right,
So,
that makes
but
sense.
VeggieTales or
We
whatever.
watched VeggieTales my senior year of high school. I went to a church, it was called, what? It was a CIY, Christ in Youth Convention. They held it in Tennessee. And
Mm.
we would take our church van up to, the church camp or whatever. And VeggieTales just came out. And I was a senior in high school, and they put that shit on the main screen, and we were so cheesy. Like, we would wear little kid barrettes, because, like, late 90s, early 2000 fashion. And
Okay.
we just lost our shit about the fucking hairbrush and shit. We were like, this is the
Oh my
best.
God. Hairbrush. Where is it? I don't
I, ju- I
know.
just sang that to Chris this morning.
Oh, where's your hairbrush? Oh my
I don't know.
God.
I don't know. And we were
I
like,
know
this is
where.
fucking funny. And it was like, it's for little kids. We thought it was just, I don't know what we thought. Like, ironically,
Oh,
something. I
like
don't know.
not Family Guy, but like SpongeBob. It was supposed to be an adult show or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it was just an ironic kind of thing for teens, but it wasn't. Well, it definitely wasn't senior year. It had to have been, because I'm not that much older than you. It had to have been freshman year, at
Hmm.
least.
Somebody put the
Freshman or
cheeseburger
sophomore.
song. Cheeseburgers.
I used to have, I love my lips memorized. It was when Larry the Cucumber went to the therapist
Mm-hmm.
and he sang, and there was this part that talks like really, 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 really fast. And I tried to do one of those TikTok videos where you put the computer and you say along with it or whatever. But it was back when, like, during quarantine, and the video didn't stay up because the song was copywritten. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Whatever.
What did you want to be when you were younger?
An artist or an actress.
Okay. For why? Like, what was the draw to that?
Draw.
Hey,
Sorry.
because artist.
If people didn't know what to get me for Christmas, they would get me art supplies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was always doing the art, drawing. And then actress because I was always doing the singing and the dancing. It just made sense. It just seemed like it line. Mine made sense, Kate.
If
Mine with
you were me, it
my.
would make sense too. Bam.
What do you want to be when you grow up? Preacher from Alabama. Preacher in Alabama church.
But I want to be a preacher in church now, but and then everybody thought it was hilarious. Just
Yep,
like
of
my
course he
entire
did.
life. Yes, my entire life. So funny. Was the tree okay? No one would ask that.
You can't just say that. You've got to give the context for that. You can't just say, is the tree okay?
Oh, okay. So like I thought, okay, I assume everybody knows the things. Anyway, so so y'all know how like people on the spectrum, Asperger's and all that, sarcasm is the worst thing I've ever like had to combat, I guess, because if you think about it, it's just a bunch of people being buttholes. But it's not. It's sarcasm. So until I started working in the emergency room, I just thought everyone was a bunch of buttholes. Like they were just randomly yelling at me or randomly being mean. And it was the weirdest thing. So I just played it off until people kept laughing because like the ambulances would come in with the patients and they would give a report to the nurses. I was a tech at the time. And so I'd sit there and listen, and they'd be like, oh, yes, person ran into a tree off the highway, whatever, whatever. And I'd be like, is the tree okay? And they'd just be like, And this would be like multiple times of them doing this. Multiple. And I'd be like, why is this so funny? Like, does that mean the tree's okay? Well, then I figured out it was because nobody would ask that. Nobody would wonder. Obviously, no one would. Because then I started dissecting why they were laughing every time. I'd be like, okay. And if, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And I'd be like, of course, nobody would ask that. I am hilarious. That's it. That's how I discovered it. Because everybody always said that I had a dry sense of humor. And I
And
was
you
like,
were
oh,
like,
yes.
no,
Well, I didn't know
no.
what that meant. So I just was
You were
like,
like, sure, yes. Like a
that's me.
pack of ramen. That's me.
Yes, you know me so well, random people.
Um, I know when I got a little bit older and I started to be sarcastic, I would say I wanted to be a number in the corporate system or a soccer mom as a joke.
Oh,
And then I became a number in the corporate system and a soccer mom.
well, you got what you wanted.
I mean,
I see. I never got to be a preacher in a church in Alabama. So,
when I was, okay, so at that COI convention when I was a senior in high school, they had this is a weird story. So they had like a theme of like taking your masks off, as in like, let people see like the real, like being authentic and stuff.
yeah.
And like having people in your youth group hold you accountable. And so this is when I did the thing where I was like, okay, just letting you know, because AOL was new. I was like, I like to meet people online, like guys online, and have phone sex with them because I had my own phone line.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a thing. And I was like, and that's not very Christian of me. And I would like the preacher's daughter to hold me accountable. And she didn't. But also in that same year, I was like, I tried acid for the first time and I loved it. Can't wait to try it again. And then also in that year, I was like, I also want to be a youth minister when I grow up. And my youth minister was like, I don't think that that's such a great idea. And I was like, listen, Tim, I'm glad that you waited till marriage. I'm glad you never did drugs. I'm glad that you have all your morals intact. But don't you think I'd be able to help the youth group better since I've experienced the things? And he and I had a falling out, and then we didn't talk again. And he was
I
like,
can't
I'm going to tell
imagine
your...
why.
He's like, I'm going to tell your mom, because I was moving to Arizona. He's like, I'm going to tell your mom you did drugs. And I was like, I'm moving across the country. You're not going to tell her shit. I'm 18. I'm not in your youth group anymore. You're not going to fucking do fucking shit. I was like, I will tell her when I'm ready.
It actually sounds like a lot of fun. Did you at least have fun
When?
when you went to these outings?
What? To the camp things?
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, that senior year was when I dressed like really punk rock, and I wore that bondage collar, and I used a dog leash to hold the door open for everybody to enter. And I just
Yes.
stood there in my shredded shirt and my short plaid skirt and my combat boots, and I was like, "Hi, welcome, welcome, hi, welcome." And my youth minister was like, can you please not?" And I was like, "Not be friendly? Why, Tim? Why, Timothy? Does it make you uncomfortable?" Well, he didn't like me representing like S&M kind of stuff, or like dog on a leash.
Things
Like it made him really uncomfortable.
because he did it in his bedroom or because he liked that kink?
We had many different discussions about how, like, if he discovered an actor was gay, or if an actor played a gay role, they were void, null and void. They didn't exist to him anymore. He didn't want anything to do with them. So I like had
So he was
conversations with
attracted to
him.
men.
Yes. So I had conversations with him, and I was like, listen, what if I was born a pathological liar? What if, I mean, like, I couldn't help it. It was a mental thing for me. Lying's a sin, right? And he's like, well, I would still love you, but I wouldn't be able to be around you anymore because you chose that. And I was like, they don't choose that. These people do not choose this.
Huh.
He used to get mad at me too because like he'd have a conversation and be like, Jesus was just like you guys. He had the thoughts just like you and didn't act on it. And I was like, well, isn't adultery thinking about? So either he was a perfect being or he was like, one of these is a lie. You tell me which one it is. He was
One
not
of
a
these
big
things
fan of
is
me.
not like the other. One of these things is a lie. I'm fucking. I'm fucking. I could see you, Tim. You bitch.
Did you did you like do any youth group stuff, or like you
Oh
went to
yes.
church camp too, right?
Oh yeah. A lot. With my friend. With friends. Yeah.
What do you mean with friends and just left it at that? Like, what kind of church camp? Was it like in a tent? Was it in a cabin? Was it like air conditioned? Like, what was it?
No, it was like cabins in the woods.
I had one of
Um,
those that I went to too until fourth grade.
there was one like every year, sometimes multiple times a year, and it was really nothing. I didn't really talk to anybody. I just sat there. Like this was whenever I talked even less, way 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 less. So I would just sit there. I would just
I know you still think that you don't talk very much,
uh-huh.
but you and I talk all the time.
Yes, you and
So
me.
whenever you're like, I talk less than I do now, and I'm like, we talk all the time.
Because you
Like,
and me talk. Well, I guess that's how it was back then too. But even then, I would never talk about myself ever, ever. They would ask me questions, and I'd just be like, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense." And
did your
that's it.
camp ever do one of those weird, like, acting out the death of Jesus kind of like dramatic things? Mine did, for
In
sure.
a theater,
Mine was like
uh,
all over the grounds, like in the woods, and we'd have to like watch him get beat by like whips and stuff, and then like,
I would always wander off. I'd be like, "Oh, this is a really good place to explore." And I remember finding giant houses one time.
giant houses? What do you mean? Like
Just,
just mansions?
I think it was probably like other. I don't really know where the fuck we were. Now that I think about it, where were we? I don't even know what state we were in. I don't know. I just know that whenever we'd go out in the woods and they do like whatever kind of campfire, I would always wander off.
I would
Yeah,
sing.
so I don't know.
We'd we'd sing
Uh-huh.
a lot at the campfires. Like and like I loved that because there was always strangers complimenting me on my singing, and I didn't get that from anyone else. So I really liked campfires. I stayed there.
CAMPFRESRNG. You didn't watch SpongeBob.
Nope. Um,
Wow. Then
what the fuck
what? I
else was I
don't get
gonna
it.
say?
Like, what would y'all do?
What do
Because
you
it,
mean?
I don't know. Like, I'm trying to. I haven't thought
I
about
could
this
give you
stuff
an
in a long
entire I
time.
can give you an entire itinerary for the day. And the last time I went was fourth grade. I remember all of it. I remember all of it.
Okay, did y'all have like a gathering hall and then there was the
Yeah.
barracks and stuff like that?
We didn't call it barracks. So like barracks would be like where everybody slept.
Yeah,
We had different dorms. We
dorms. Okay.
the girls' dorms were named after flowers. The guys' dorms were named after trees. Um, then we had a cafeteria, but like towards second or third grade, they upgraded the cafeteria,
Mm-hmm.
and then that cafeteria became like something else. There was a lake. There were two different slides. There was also like a boat situation, like a paddle boat thing. We had an outdoor basketball, cover. We had canteen, which was like a little, it looked like a little train station, but it, you know what I mean, like one of those wooden spots or whatever.
Yeah.
There was a nurse's station. There was archery. There were different pavilions to do Bible study and like leather working and stuff like that.
Okay.
Um,
Were
we
they
had like a game
obsessed
room.
with, oh, sorry. Were
No,
they
go for it.
obsessed with pairing people together? Like making people couples?
Um, oh, so I helped people couple up. I was one of those people that was like, you two would be really good together, like relationship wise. And I never had anybody interested in me at
Huh.
all. And that always like really like it fucked me up. Like it bothered me a lot. And also all the girls in my dorm would like make fun of me for the way I dressed, but then all ask me for fashion advice because I'd be the one that'd be like, that belt doesn't match those shoes. Like if you're gonna wear that, borrow, who has it? Susan has a belt that will go with those. Yeah, that looks really good. I think Elaine had a necklace I saw. Go see if you can borrow. Yep, now you look good. So they would ask me advice, but they would always make fun of me too.
Huh. Weird.
But you went with your friends, Kate?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would always go with them and I would always only talk
Were
to
they
them.
were they just summer friends or were they like friends that went to your church?
Friends that went to my school. I would always go to their churches. Like Pentecostal, Methodist, Baptist. None of them were ever Catholic. I was the Catholic one. My family, I should say. I didn't go. Yeah. And then they would all invite me to their camps. And the adults would all try to get me or try to ask me what music I listened to because, of course, I wore barbed wire around my wrist. and black and had black hair or blue hair or whatever I decided. And so they would all ask me what music I would listen to, and they would tell me why it was bad. And I'd be like, oh, cool. And then I just wouldn't engage. Like,
I
it
got
was
in,
very, very that, huh?
I got in trouble for wearing a Crass shirt, the band Crass, because their symbol is like a no smoking sign, but with a cross in the center of it.
Heh. What is their famous song?
They're
Crass.
1970s, 1980s UK punk rock.
Okay.
Um, they have songs like "Do They Owe Us a Living?" "Course they do, course they do," like stuff like that.
Okay.
"Course they fucking
Probably in
do."
Tony, probably in Tony Hawk somewhere.
Probably. And then there's like my favorite CD from them that you would probably like is called Penis Envy, and it's the
Uh,
girls in the group. They are the leads of it all. It's a good
oh,
album.
that
It's
sounds
real good.
fun.
Yep. And they also have a song called Big Hands, and it goes, "His hands are big, they've got big hands, 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 big hands. Blah, 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 big
Did it
hands, big hands,
mean
big hands."
other things? Did it mean that they have big gloves too?
I thought it was nail clippings. I don't know.
Oh,
Oh. Mm.
nail clippings. Weird. So, who made you go then to these camps?
Me, and I would make people go with me.
Oh,
Dude, even when I was like total punk rock, all my friends were goth and punk rock. I would be like, if you want to hang out with me, you're gonna go to church with me on Wednesdays in the youth group, and I will make the youth minister because the church was right behind the high school,
hmm.
and I let them. I orchestrated it so they could park their cars really close to the school, but they had to go to youth group with me.
Oh,
So they'd come in with like their vampire teeth and they're like, nobody wanted them there. And we were just like, "Hi, we're here." And I would lead the prayer group and I would lead the like all the stuff. And yeah,
interesting.
I even had like, my boyfriend when I was like 15, 16, his parents who were like against church or whatever, I convinced them and they became members of my church. I was very
Oh,
much like, "Come on." And
that
then
sounds fun.
my boyfriend's mom was like, "Don't you want to sit with the other kids?" And I was like, "I am sitting with my friends." And it was like all the old ladies.
Uh,
That's who I
huh.
sat with.
Yeah, I just didn't talk to anybody. Why was I even there? I don't, I don't know why I was even there. They could
Where? The
probably because they
church?
asked. The camp and the church, they would ask me to go. And then like my crazy family's friends would ask me to go to their churches because they had to make it seem like there was something wrong with me, right? And so they would ask me to go to their churches and it would be the same thing. Just I would just wouldn't say anything. And then one time we got in a wreck before it and I was like, "Heh, that's funny."
You
But
got
it's
in a
like,
wreck?
yeah, before we went to this church that the crazy people's friends wanted me to go to because, they were trying to save me, Kat. There was something wrong with me.
What kind of wreck was it?
I was a drunk driver behind us
Did
that
you already
slammed into the back of us.
did
Huh?
you already go back and heal it?
Yes, because the CT scan came back negative.
Oh yeah. Well, do you still need to? I mean, like, and make it negative, or did you already do it? You already did it. Okay.
I should probably help my friend too. My friend was there because it was like the same awkwardness. I mean, it was like a church town.
I went with one of my friends, and they were Pentecostal, and she didn't have any other friends in school. It was my first time in public school,
Mm-hmm.
and since I had gone to private school, all the people that I knew, like I was brand new in, again, fifth grade at a
Uh-huh.
public school for the first time, and like I didn't have new clothes and stuff because I would always destroy them. So my mom was like, "Nah, nah, 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 nah. You're not going to get anything new." So nobody liked me. Um, and I went with my friend, and she couldn't cut her hair, and she had to wear skirts, and she couldn't swim with boys. And I went, and the mom was like, "We're a little bit loud." And I was like, "We're so loud at my church too. Like, we're so loud. We sing. They speak in tongues there, and they like shake, and they get their hands up, and they fall on the floor when they catch the spirit." And I didn't know what to do. And so I was just sitting there like, like this. And
Uh-huh.
then on the ride home, the mom was like, I don't know how to ask you this, but do you worship the devil? And I was like, what? And she's like, that's what devil worshippers do. And the hand motion. And I was like, for those of you listening at home, all I did was put my two hands together and like I was holding hands with somebody. It was real weird.
I would have been like, yes, how did you know?
I
You
could, I
caught
can't,
me.
I
You
couldn't do
caught
that.
me.
I can't.
Oh my God. Weird. Okay.
Okay,
So it was like
so
two
how
very
did you,
different things, huh?
how did you get on like spiritual talk, witch talk? How did that even fucking happen for you? Because the stuff that's on your For You page is like welders.
That
How
only
did you even get over
recently
there?
that only recently started being on my For You page. Um, I have no idea. All I did was download TikTok, and I didn't have it before. I watched YouTube videos and stuff of it, of
You
TikTok
went on
videos.
TikTok. You went on TikTok because people mention it in their YouTubes, right?
Yeah, and I wanted to watch funny content, and then you were on there. That's it. That's how I got
Am
on
I
that.
funny to you? Do I look like a clown? Am I here to
No, that's
amuse you?
show me your shoes, cat.
When I'm like I think of you and I think of Ben, and I'm like, how the fuck did you guys find me? Because like Ben's TikTok is just Spanish TikTok. Like, how?
I only recently got airplanes on my For You page too. That's recent. The welders and stuff like that. That's very recent. Faux
It's probably
show.
because you've done a lot of healing to your TikTok to make
True
it like Kate like, you
for
know?
me.
Yeah.
God, I can't even remember. It was funny videos. That's what I liked on TikTok. And then you showed up, and I was just like, oh yeah, she's talking about the. I mean, I've been thinking this for years. Like, finally, somebody is here. This anyway. But yeah, you kept showing up. I was like, oh yeah, that's yep. Been thinking this for years. Yep, I agree. Uh huh. I agree.
Until she didn't.
Until I was like, oh my god, you said you've been to other, or you said you've talked to somebody from another country. Ah, that was
Kate
it.
is married to someone from Australia. I had a video that had clients that I spoke to around the world, and Kate was like, "No, bye."
And then I got scared. I was like,
Blocked me.
no. Yes. And it was like, yes. Little do you know.
Yeah, we had a session. Yeah, well, it wasn't lie. It wasn't a lie. It was just
No,
weird.
it was ah, A-H. Ah, bye. There's a couple people I did that to. Do you feel like the For You page is a significant message for us? What do you mean?
Like spirit messages, like that kind of stuff, like guided messages.
Oh, mine doesn't seem to go that way, but Kat's does.
Mine's curated to be that way, though.
I tried to with mine, and it was like, haha, no.
You don't
Like,
like it though.
yeah.
It doesn't take very much for Kate to block somebody either. Like, at all. Like, it's not personal. Nothing is. So much is personal and emotional with me. Like, there's people that I'll want to block for 3 years and I'll be like, not yet. They haven't, like, harmed me, but I hate seeing them and I hate what they talk about, but not yet. Not yet. Someone talks about a color that Kate is, like, not a fan of and says it's their favorite, and Kate's like, I don't agree with this person. Blah.
Mm,
Not a
depends.
color. I mean, I used a different example than what actually happens, but
It has to be like a lie. Then I'm like, oh, even if it's genuine, even if they genuinely believe it, I'm like, wow, gross.
and I'll be like, oh my god, and I'll send a video to Kate, and she's like, yeah, it's unavailable for me. I must have blocked him. I don't know. And I'm like, this guy talks about like locations on the planet. Like, yeah.
Yeah, probably. But
Oh, there
what?
was there's only a few people. Someone brought this up recently, but There was someone who duetted one of Kate's videos and was talking about how like it was like a seer video or something, and they were like talking shit about it or whatever, and Kate was like, "Your videos, like you talking hate, turns me on. Can I pay you for it?" And then the person sent them their like Cash App or something, and Kate paid them because of the hate. It was just really funny.
I was like, thank you. I Smashers made it to this. And that was it.
They
I don't
tried to
even know
like
their profile
they
name.
they tried to like describe what they look like or whatever, and Kate was like, "I don't know what you look like, nor do I care. I take my money for the hate, and that's it."
I don't care what you look like. Promise. Bye. Don't know their username. Don't know what they look like. Couldn't tell you. Could not tell you.
Yeah,
Weird.
just didn't. I mean, she didn't. Even, yeah, they said queen move. She was just dead serious. Like it was not a power play. It was literally, it is what it is. Bye.
Thanks for the kink. Bye.
Yeah, and I'm sitting over here going like, this person made a video at me. It feels like a wool sweater of hate. They know they want me to respond. Like, what do I do? What do I do?
That's what you should do. Anyway.
Kate and Kate's like, just masturbate to it.
You know what you should do. That makes me have to burp, and I don't know why.
You used to study like witchy stuff though, and you used to study like I don't know, all that shit. I don't know the names of things.
Oh, like nature books and the Greek whatever papyri or whatever the fuck. Yeah, I have a lot of old books like that. The Dawn, whatever Dawn.
After one of our sessions before we were like friends, Kate texted me and she was like, I believe you're one of these gods, like one of the like, I don't know what it was, like some kind of
pro whatever gods.
But she was looking at it, and I was used to people putting me in some kind of like spiritual hierarchy thing, and I didn't know Kate, and I wasn't able to read Kate because it takes a minute to read Kate, and I was like, okay, I mean, I guess I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're trying to say, and you were
It's
like,
okay,
nothing.
guys.
I'm just saying the thing.
Kat didn't like me either.
I did like you. No, I really liked you. Thanks.
Kat didn't like me either, guys.
That's not true. I don't like it.
I
That's
don't
not
know
true.
about Scar.
No, that was when we were working with people and people were fucking with my head, man. And that was before we knew how to like remove intrusive thoughts and stuff. And that was when I was really worried about like good or evil and like, am I with the wrong people? Am I working with the wrong side?
Again. So I don't know.
All that shit. It takes a while to deprogram that crap. God dang, that took a while to deprogram that crap. Some of the videos I watch, like my old series, there's always, I'm like, I'll watch a series and I'll be like, maybe this one's still good. I'm like, yep, I still believe all of this. This is all still true. This is great. And then it'll just mention one video that's like super gross. And Kate and I just look at each other and go, oh, gross.
Primordial. That's what it was called, primordial being.
Primordial beings.
That's what I thought, yeah.
What are primordial beings?
They're beings that the first beings ever.
Oh, so everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
But
cool. Yes, yeah, I'm one of those.
Like, that's it.
Well, that's what you were shown for whatever.
Yes. You're like, oh my god, stop putting me in a hierarchical position.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what that means. How do I say no?
Oh yeah,
No.
Greek magical papyri. Cajun. I don't know how really. Yeah.
Oh, the discovering of the abilities. So, Kate had her head busted open when she was a baby, like
Busted it wide open and shake it
like
on the floor. Sorry.
yeah, and all of her stuff just opened the fuck up, really hardcore. And also, she's very spectrum, and she was around a lot of gaslighting narcissists, so she was always working on her spiritual abilities. Like, she was always becoming the Kate.
Because I didn't know,
Man,
like, I was always alone. How did you,
yeah.
how did you do the things?
Which things?
Everything. How were, because you had the card thing, and what about before that? And what about before that? You know what I mean?
Oh, like the tarot card thing?
Well, like the very first, what was the very first moment where you were like, I am different?
Oh, I've always known I was different, but I thought I was
Okay.
just really annoying and loud.
Oh, okay.
Not different any other way than that. I remember being in the private twin flame rooms on Facebook, which I don't subscribe to twin flame anymore. I just want to let you guys know that I've seen too much and it's bullshit. But anyway, back to the topic. But I was an admin of this like really large group, and I would just make welcome videos and like just try to include everybody, like hey, everybody make a welcome video and let everybody know who you are and blah 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 blah. And I was like, we have all found each other and we're all interested in the same thing. We should start like doing healing the world stuff, right? And they were all like, my divine partner is still married to his karmic and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, cool, that sucks. So,
Terrible. Anyway.
we have abilities to do things. We should do things, right? Like, what is this about? This spirituality. Like, we're awakening to these things. Let's do the things. And everybody's like, yes, soap opera, melodrama, blah, 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 blah. Angels, blah, blah. Mary Magdalene and Jesus are twin flame, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I guess so. Um, and then I started to like really buy into all of that, like its own dogma, because I didn't research further than the gross surface stuff, and it was online and there was stuff to read. And so I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then there was tarot readers and it matched up. And then I was like, my divorce had just fallen apart and he was in prison. And so I was like depressed, but didn't know I was depressed. And I was spending hours and hours and hours watching tarot videos in my bed. Like, that's how I learned how to read the cards. And like hours, like to the point where my oldest pretty much had to step up and be a parent a lot of the times. And I didn't realize that was kind of happening. Like, it was just bad. And then I would like put so much into these readings that were like, oh, there's going to be union next month and blah blah blah. Union means like, they've twisted the meaning of it, because in that community, union means like together. But since
Okay.
nobody was coming together because they're not actually like union in spirit, union in spiritual marriage, union in like, there was all these different things for it. And then there was
Oh.
holding space. People didn't tell their person that they were twin flames. So there was like stalker energy. Most of them were already married, and that was fine. All of that was good. Like, it didn't matter because their souls were married. So they were actually cheating on them with their karmic partner. Like, it was just
I
real
have a
crazy.
question about that. What
Okay.
did the other person, okay, so like say it was like a person in there. What did the other person that was being stalked think of this? Think of, like, did they ever tell these people their twin flame?
Most of them didn't, because they were holding space and they thought it was against the rules that you had to discover that you were one on your own. So they were just like obsessed and stalking, and it was fine. And they just were not telling. And me, I told the person, I was like, this is what we are. This is blah, blah, blah. This is what I remember when I found out, like, I figured out that they weren't, and my world, like, turned gray and everything spiraled. I was like, if I'm not a twin flame, then what the fuck am I? Like, I invested. And I think that's why it's hard for people to get out of that spirit, that pocket. They've invested so much time and energy into this relationship, and they have to prove that it is right and
Right.
that they are divinely together, and all these naysayers are gonna laugh, and
Right.
they're like, and they just get stuck in it for a really long time. Plus, it's really hard to get out of because it is energetically intertwined. But they
Yeah.
think that if they have these past lives with people, that means that they were divinely together. But we've all had past lives with everybody, like literally everybody in some form or fashion. So, like, And before the past life thing, I thought I had maybe had like one. I didn't have any clue. Like, I knew past lives were a thing. I knew they existed, but I somehow like attributed it to the astrology wheel. And since I was a Taurus, I was like, this is my like Aries would be first, Taurus would be my second life. I didn't know
That
how to
makes
figure it
sense.
out.
That makes sense because I've heard people, hey, look, it's names. I've heard people say that before with the wheel. Maybe it was you. I don't know. I've heard that before.
But I'm always trying to make sense of stuff, so I'm like patterns, making sense with the patterns, the numbers, this
Yeah.
has to be the thing. You know those people that are on TikTok and they're like, and then the numbers, blah, 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 and then there's that in the months, and then that's in the song lyrics, and then that's, and it's like, it's gotta be, and it's like, no,
Yes.
that's not really what happens.
Yes, that makes sense, especially with the twin flame thing, because it's like something that seems so real, and then all of a sudden it's not. It's like if somebody were to be like, Kate, airplanes are not real, I'd be like,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
your life.
Mm-hmm.
It is your passion, it's your life, it's everything. And then all of a sudden it's just like, holy fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Holy fuck. And then unbraiding it all and going back and getting all the residual and getting all that residue off and getting all the contracts off. And then, do you know how many fucking lives we have with these people where our humans go, this is my divine counterpart? And then we have a ceremony with like blood oaths and fucking like fire pits and shit and like bind our souls together even more. It's like, there's a knot in your hair. Let's fray it to get it out.
Oh.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I've never heard you say that before. Oh, what a great point. Let me
And it's
see.
just more knots and more knots and more knots. And it's like, now take a straightener to it. Like,
Don't deep condition it. Just burn it off. Burn it.
untangle it more and more and more.
Is a marriage ceremony binding for more than one life? Yeah, it's a ceremony.
Well, it can be, but there's special wording in marriage ceremonies. Like, it'll be like, till death do us part. Boom, out. Like, those don't bind as much. It's the like really like deep spiritual kind of bindings.
I'll love you forever. That's one.
Gross.
Switches
Gross.
and do that.
Yeah, it's super simple. It's super simple. And then once you realize it's super simple, you can undo any of it because it's like a kid can't tie their shoes, right? They just don't fucking know how. But once you know how, it's super fucking simple, and that's all it is. It's just remembering how to do the things. I want to talk about so I was telling someone the other day that was in the mentorship program.
Uh huh.
I was talking about how, like, I told you this, but I was talking about how you and I were working on the phone and we used to go super slow. And we were working in Russia, like in a past life. And like Kate and I were like guiding each other and like figuring out how we do things together. And Kate's a seer and I'm a feeler and we could both tune into the same thing. And so we were doing this life and Kate was doing something really big and it was going in slow motion and it was like really painful and we were like falling asleep on the phone and it was taking us hours and we figured out how to just speed. I was like, time isn't real. Actually, at that point, I was like, I'm the goddess of time. Like, so gross. So, but anyway, the concept got there, but it was like, time's not real. Let's just speed it up. And so we tried it and it worked. And I can't tell you how many times I sat there with Reiki hands back in the day before I figured out the energy stuff, just
Yeah,
sitting there
I was gonna say,
melting things.
show us Reiki hands, cat.
Just, okay, just melting the thing for hours, melting a kidney stone. And it's just like, all you have to do is speed it up.
Well, it's very interesting.
Oh, tell the story of discovering the MEK. Do you remember it?
I'm trying to think because, like, right now it's sending me back to the very beginning. It's like we were both magnetized to each other. Couldn't stop. I couldn't stop going to your page. And then you couldn't stop going to mine, and I had no videos. This was after
You
the
had
session.
videos. You had
I,
you had 2 session like series on your page, so you had a bunch of videos.
that was afterwards. Somebody, was it you that asked me? No, you were like, tell your story, and I was like, I don't know. What would I
Oh,
say?
probably because that's me. Go
Okay,
ahead, do a story
tell your
time. Tell everybody about
story.
it.
And I was like, how do I do that?
Pick up a camera and record it.
Just record it. Yeah. And okay, so I'm trying to like process it all in my head. And then we were working together a lot. It was very, I remember it was really explody. Like every time I would talk to you or see you, like it was like a bunch of fireworks. And I remember being like, Cat, fireworks, fireworks, fireworks. That's you. And you were just like,
Uh,
uh, like in a good
no, we
way.
had that we had that one conversation because I was waiting for you to get off of work,
Uh huh.
and it was like, I need help with something like to look at something or like it was something with the tree or something was going on with my like tree form,
Uh huh.
and Kate was like, is it normal to like see how your day was, like think out if you had a good day? And I was like, oh, I think about you during the day too. Like I've been waiting for you to get home. And you're like, oh my God, because I've been waiting to get home too to talk to you. And I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, no, I love you. I love talking to you. And it was like, that's how it started. It was like, okay, cool. We both are cool. We're cool. Okay.
Okay. Because I had never had a friend that I could like talk like that to, or that would like that actually gave a shit. You know what I
Talk
mean?
like
Like they were
what?
just like, well, they would want me to drive them somewhere, or they would want to like do something, or you know what I mean? It was
I
never
still
like
wanted to do stuff. I
what?
wanted to heal things.
Yes, but you would also be like, "How was your day?"
Uh,
That's why I was like, "Is that normal? This has never happened. Weird."
the amount of time, if I could count how many times Kate has asked, is this normal?
Cat, so my brain really likes when you're around. Is this normal? Yes, Kate. I think that's friendship. What is that? No, I'm just kidding. The MEK was when there was stuff on
We're working in the Harry
Max's
Potter
feet.
realms.
Was it? What about
Hmm.
the glue with Max's feet?
That was because of the Voldemort stuff that was on. This is
Okay.
before we learned how to feed things to our lowest dimensional forms.
Uh
And
huh.
I was still operating from dark bad, light good, because gross. And um, we were trying to figure out, there was gooey stuff all over my 9-year old. Well, they weren't 9 at the time, but there was gooey stuff all over their feet. And we had to get it off, and it was black tar. And I knew black tar was part of the smoke monster. It was its tar form. And I was like, that's evil, that's darkness, we got to get that off. And you were like, I mean, it's sticky. I know how to get things off. And I was like, okay, how? And you were like, you just pour methyl ethyl ketone on it. And I was like, what the fuck did you just say?
Methyl ethyl ketone, or MEK for short. And then I was like, but you have to douse it with water, or else it's gonna
And can't
burn.
can't get it on the skin,
You don't.
and you can't.
If you do, it's gotta be a little bit.
Like we were really, really, really careful, and like we did everything so precisely when it came to figuring out like if we had a healing thing where it had a like fuse box, we would walk over to the energetically walk over to the fuse box, open the door, then we would locate the wires, then we would strip the wire. Like that's how we know how to do it from the base up. That's why we know how to do all the things is because we did
All the
all the things.
things,
Um,
days and
and then
hours.
when we poured the MEK energetically on my kids' feet and it did not burn them, we were like, what? We can pour this on darkness? And then I had a vacuum and I was sucking up like a smoke monster kind of thing because that was one of my spiritual tools. And I was like, can we pour MEK in the tank? And then we tried it and we were like, it turned to like gold dust. Like, what is And it was like, oh my God, this is the best ever. This is so fast. So we learned the speed up thing. We learned the MEK thing. And then we learned, by happenstance, like take that fuse box things, for instance, right? Because, okay, well, with the MEK, we would call it, like, if we ran into anything sticky, we would just be like, oh, automatically MEK, pour MEK on it. Yep, that worked. Got it. So then it took out the turning things from dark to light and went into, this works really well to get the sticky off. It's like Goo Gone times 3,000 in spiritual work. That was perfect. So then whenever we did that, we were like, yeah, use the MEK, pour the MEK. And then finally it was like Kate's MEK healing. And then when we discovered the fuse box thing, like that kind of stuff, the step-by-step, it was more like, oh, here's another fuse box. Can we just do what we did the last time to this one? And then it did it. And we were like, you can just, you don't have to redo it. You don't have to redo it. You can copy what you did and like, that's a healing. That's a healing. And it was like, what? And then the phrase, that whole house cleanse, the beginning of the house cleanse that I have in my first pin video, like, I would say that, walk us through that, like, every fucking time. And then finally, we just shortened. I was like, after 2 hours on the phone of repeating it over and over and over again, it was just like, can we just do the thing and add a whoosh? And it did it. And we were like,
this is crazy.
Everything. It was great.
And then in the beginning, there was a talking guy in my head, and that's how he told me to talk to Kat.
Joseph!
I'm like a hearer and a seer, right? Well, my entire life, I've been seeing this guy right here, this guide, my entire life. Just thought it was normal. And then I was on this session with another practitioner because Kat was full, and they actually ended up saying something to Kat that I was full of shit, because in this session I was like, okay, so all these questions that you're asking me, there's a guy telling me, there's a guy, and they're speaking with me about it. Like, they'll tell me answers sometimes, or it'll be like in my head, like we come up with these answers together. And they're
P.S.
like,
This is the best part. P.S. This is the best part. Kay didn't know what, like, spirit guide, didn't know anything. Like, this was just a guy and everybody had it. Okay, go on. I mean, you did know because you asked, but that's a different story. But, like, it wasn't fully formed.
At this point in time, I had no concept, because I didn't come from spirituality. I didn't come from any kind of religion. I knew nothing, and I still kind of don't know anything about it. Kat, fills me in sometimes, and I'm like, what? Anyway, and so this guide was like talking to me, and I was like telling this practitioner about it, and they were like, what? They were like playing along with me. So the fact that they kept calling me a liar, it was just weird. And I was like, yeah, they're holding a goblet and they're making gestures with their hand, and they're like talking back and forth with me, and we're like, I'm asking them the questions, then they'll ask me questions, and I'll get the answers in my head, and sometimes they'll tell me the answers. And they told me I was going to throw up during the session and stuff like that. And before I knew what any of the kicking out things were, I kept cutting them and yeeting them out of my body because they kept trying to come into my body. It was the weirdest fucking thing. And then they ended up throwing up a lot, because I kept kicking them out. I was like, I don't know what this is. I have no idea. Go away. Go fuck off. Go fuck yourself. And I kept doing that. It was weird. Anyway, so after that, Kat finally has a session open up, because I'm like, hey.
I started a cancellation list.
Yes. And so this person and many others around Kat kept telling her that I was a liar with this guide that was, randomly up there. And then Kat had cancellations, and finally,
hold on, I don't listen to people when they say that someone's a liar, or they say that they're a horrible person, or they say that they're anything. I go, okay, cool. And then even nowadays, like, I'll have people blocked that Kate doesn't. Kate has people blocked that I don't. Like, we don't fucking play that game. Like, Just letting you
It's
know. So anybody
useless.
telling me anything about anybody, I'm just like, I don't, whatever, I guess.
Because it's useless.
Hmm.
Anyway, so it's, yeah, it's
Sarah Abby
ridiculous.
said, Kat, do you merge with Kate? And I was like, no. I did for our first session because that's how I
Yeah.
did things.
And you were like, you're the first person that makes me face them. Why do you make me face them? And I was like, because I want to see. I want to see what you're
Oh,
doing.
because when I would enter into people, I would always come from behind, from their back. And I didn't know
Yeah.
why I did. I just did. And I was like, why are we looking face to face? Like, this is very odd. Because I could feel it. I could feel Kate face to face as I
The
merged into their
stare.
body.
The stare. I'm like, what's up? Okay, yeah, okay.
Forehead to
And
forehead. We were making out. Sorry.
hell yeah. Yes. And anyway, it was the first, like, every time I would tell her these things, I was like, yeah, there's this guy. And she, like, talked to me about him instead of, like, casting him off.
Well, Kate was like, there's this guy. And it's like, okay. And I was still kind of weird about that. I'd forgotten that anybody had even said anything. The only part I remembered was, like, Kate was like, yeah, I had a session with blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, you're the one who made her throw up. And Kate's like, well, that's embarrassing. Even though you're not embarrassed, but that's
Mm-hmm.
like what you said. And so when you started talking about the guy, I was just kind of listening, but I could quote unquote see him. Like I could feel him. And he was in this like big, dark, like rectangular catacomb kind of room. Um, and Kate was like, yeah, he has this chair. And I was like, Kate, is it a throne? Why didn't I call you by your name? I said
Mm-hmm.
babe,
Mm-hmm.
probably. I don't call anybody by their name. I was like, is it a throne? And you're like, oh my God, yeah, it is. And then Kate was like, yeah, and he's got this cup he waves around. And I was like, is that the Holy Grail? And she was like, wait, is it the what? And then she asked him, and he was like, oh, yeah, yeah, it is. And I was like, hold on a minute, what's his name? And I Google imaged him, and I sent it, and I was like, is it this guy? And Kate was like, he looks just like that, but Asian. Like, he doesn't look, because it was a whitewashed picture. And I was like, well, the Holy Grail is during like medieval time. I was like, motherfucker, I'm the Lady of the Lake. Shit,
Yes.
bitch. And then I went in to like Joseph kind of had to like scan after working with the last person. Joseph pretty much had to like energetically scan the people or whatever, like be the discernment. And I went in and I was making the raunchiest like dad jokes. The dad jokes make a lot of sense now because of who it actually is. Um, and I sat down and we were just like laughing it up and talking it up. And then he showed us that the lake that the lady was behind his motherfucking house. And I was like, then why the fuck was I stuck underwater for so damn long? And it was
He
like,
was
I didn't know you needed help getting out, which also makes sense now that I know who it is. And also showing me around. This is my chair. These are my curtains. By the way, it's Kate's husband, Shaden, but we did not know that. Like a
This
different
is
form of
my house.
him.
This is my house. Anyway, that's where you are over there. I keep peering in there, and there's this person that comes and visits you. So I just think that it's normal.
And
It's,
after the like third or fourth time or whatever, we realized there were fucking souls stuck in the fucking goblet, the Holy Grail shit, and we were like, Joseph, why the fuck are there like souls in here? And he was like, no.
weird.
And then there was a person that I had worked with at the time, and they were like, it sounds a little schizophrenia to me. Like, it doesn't sound like they're all there. Like, that doesn't sound like what a spirit guide talks like. Like, a spirit guide's pretty, like, guiding and knowing. And I was like, okay, I'll present it to them. So I got on the phone with Kate, and I was just like, because I was still friends with this other person, and them I trusted, which I don't anymore, but that's besides the point. And I was like, I didn't want to tell Kate that she might be fucking loony, especially since she and I both had conversations and I could feel and see the thing. And I was like, well, then I'm fucking crazy too, fucking whatever. I mean, I was like, at least we're on the same crazy channel. So we worked with walking Joseph through like rebirth, like spiritual rebirth. And like since Joseph Shaden, he went along with it, and Kate went along with it, and he ended up looking like an Adonis, like a Greek Adonis for a little bit.
Yes.
But it didn't stick because it was just like a different version of him, like a different life. It wasn't a big deal. But that was some of that spiritual, nasty, gross hierarchy shit that like tried to come between me and her, but we just laughed and had fun and did the things anyway.
I was just like, whatever. And then when he
Whatever.
came back, it's when my life turned around again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like weird. I don't know. They're like, that's not real. They need to be let go, or whatever the fuck they said. They need to be let go. And then like my guide was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "I don't know. That's what they said." And then they like gave the saddest look when they turned around, and they were just like, "Okay."
Can we go back and redo that? Like,
Oh yes, Spirit of Nice, please take me back there. Just kidding. Come back.
ha 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 ha
I
ha.
lied. I'm just a jokester. They're like, yes, you are. Oh my god. Spirit of Nice, please lock that down. Yeah.
We need to close. This was fun, but it's 8:05. We need to close portals to all the people we were talking about.
Oh yeah. Spirit of Nice, please activate the welded shut healing to all that, the backdoor door step room healing to all that, the number 12 healing to all of that, and they get that over so the fuck off me healing to all of that. I don't want you, or you. Fuck off.
So just letting you guys know, like, you can vent, you can talk, you can reminisce, whatever, but when you do that, you open an energetic portal to those energies, like a welcome mat, to let them back in. It's not dangerous, except, like, the way I like to explain it is like you're your own club. You're the manager of your own club, and you have bouncers, and you say, "Don't let this person in," and that person shows up at the door, and your bouncers are like, "You can't fucking get in here. Your name's not on the fucking list." And you walk up to the door and you go, "Welcome, come on in." And they go, "But name, and you go, "George, stop it." They can come right in.
Silly.
And then when you're done with the conversation, if you don't kick them the fuck back out and like get them the fuck away, your bouncer is going to be like, "They're allowed in anytime. They can just come in." It's like, no, they can't. I just needed to say some things. Thanks. Bye.
Here's nice if you just copy and paste that to Cat's house, my house, Shade and Bin, and whoever else wants it.
In the live, if they want it.
Live. Soul Consensus.
Oh, in the podcast.
In the podcast. And TikTok. My TikTok and Cat's TikTok. And the joint TikTok. Yes.
Yeah, that feels good.
And lock this down. Yeah.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. And letting us chit-chat and say the things. That was fun. It was a nice little thing. I hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. We liked it a lot.
It was fun.
Okay. See you in class Thursday, Sarah. All right, everybody disconnect. Haha, said it first. Bye.